Rashad, maybe you can speak to this as well, like with being a fighter, CTE and brain damage and stuff. Is it something that you think could be valuable in like even a maintenance thing? Like even if people don't have any signs of CTE, or they're not feeling any kind of memory issues or difficulty of concentration. Is it something that you feel like could be beneficial in like keeping fighters healthier?
Absolutely. There's nothing that's better for neurogenesis than anything for neural health on the market, to be honest. When it comes to neural health, there's mushrooms, and it's not only psilocybin, there's functional mushrooms too. That's actually great for, building great, neural pathways and just communication, from one synapse to the next synapse until it gets to where it needs to be and processed in the brain. You know what I'm saying? It cuts down the communication. And that's what happens. Like when we get old, we get old neurologically speaking. And that's based on the fact that we're just being inundated with so many toxins, so many chemicals that are neurologically poisoning to us. And after a while, our body gets built up with all this neurological toxin, and it messes up the way that our body communicates. So then we start having neurological issues that manifest in, Alzheimer's, or, speech problems, or, walking disabilities, and all these different other circulation problems that happen because, the neural pathways have broken down. When you start taking psilocybin, when you start taking mushrooms in general, it starts to build back better neural pathways and, helps with neuroplasticity and all those things that, really supports neural health, and it gets to the essence of your body on a cellular level. And, I've heard stories where, someone, couldn't walk before, was in a wheelchair bound, had a skiing accident and was, taking mushrooms, and then found, they started having feelings in areas they didn't have before through taking mushrooms. And then they started to couple the mushrooms with the physical therapy. Long story short, they learned how to walk, and that's the kind of things that, the power of these mushrooms and what they can do as far as neurogenesis is concerned.
Yeah. And I am a physical therapist by trade. So like for me, like I've seen people with strokes and Parkinson's and things like that and all these conditions. And I'm like, is it something that even could be accessible to them? Like would like the functional mushrooms, which is like the lion's mane and some of those things, which are accessible to people. They found that those can be impactful as well in helping some of these things?
Lion's mane in particular for neurocognitive functions is definitely being studied. The University of Tokyo is probably like one of the leading centers for anything related to mycology that I've seen out front. University of Washington too for other things, but it would seem that lion's mane mushroom. I state this, look, I was on the Decrim Denver team. I have this psychedelic research nonprofit. I've been advocating for this for years. My statement now is I believe functional mushrooms like lion's mane have as much, if not more potential than psilocybin to help with a lot of these ailments. There's so many mushrooms it's an entire kingdom. It's an entire kingdom, and it's in a kingdom that we've taken out of our diets, by the way. So it's like, hey, if I told you, hey, vegetables are gross, don't eat broccoli because it's slimy, and sometimes broccoli is poisonous, and sometimes spinach is poisonous or whatever, and you stop eating vegetables, that's what we've done with mushrooms, right? And so reintroducing that in your diet, you might see big benefits there, but there are plenty of studies showing the efficacy of functional mushrooms helping things with neurocognition, respiratory health, breast cancer, immune health, gut health, so functional mushrooms. Again, obviously we have a functional mushroom company, Umbo, that we've kicked off, and we have products to help people get these back in their diet. But whether it's Umbo, whether it's your local farmer's market or something like that, people should be getting more mushrooms into their diet. It's really, really important in my humble opinion.
So functional mushrooms. So obviously lion's mane, what are some of the, I guess, some of the ones that you guys work with and their kind of effects or their positive effects that you guys have seen?
So we have a product called Mycorrhize. It's got cordyceps mushrooms in it. And this is for, kind of the more athletically leaning group that your audience is. Before jiu-jitsu, I'll take our cordyceps Mycorrhize product. It's got bio-NNM in it, which is, NAD precursor for, cellular energy. You guys are probably familiar with that. And then Rhodioprime, which is a branded ingredient around rhodiola. and that's another adaptogen. Mushrooms are very much adaptogenic, which means it kind of helps you with, what you need. I know that sounds like a loaded statement, but again, it's like, hey, Eugene, what's up? What do you take broccoli for? What do you eat carrots for? Well, not anything in particular, but if you eat enough of them, you're going to probably feel better than if you didn't eat them,
Sure.
That being said, lion's mane, I always think of it like this. There's like the big five, if you will. Lion's mane for your brain health, cordyceps for respiratory, lung, cardiovascular type health, turkey tail, gut health, it's like immune, helps with your immune system, shiitake immune system, reishi kind of overall. Reishi in Asian cultures is referred to as the mushroom of immortality. So it has, plethora of various compounds and constituents in it that help your body adapt to what it needs, So what we're just starting to untap the potential of mushrooms. It's a very new space for the Western world. And that's why I say I think it's got as much potential as psilocybin if we would just start, looking towards it and researching it more. But a lot of universities are doing that.
Is there a certain